Very good evening, everyone. So, myself, Dr. Himani, and today, on behalf of Vital Biotech Agriculture Forum for Technical Education of Farming Society, Kota, Faculty of Veterinary Science and Animal Husbandry, Ranchi, Birsa Agriculture University, Ranchi, I cordially welcome you all to the fifth day of this 7 days international training come workshop on cutting edge innovations in veterinary science for a sustainable future. Before starting today's session, let me briefly tell about the organizer. So, organizers are Vital Biotech. It is India's leading publication, research, and training institute, whose goal is to tackle the world's most pressing problems, which are related to food and agriculture. Whereas the Agriculture Forum for Technical Education of Farming Society, Kota, serves as a spiracle between the farmers of rural community in India and other stakeholders such as government, development organization, and corporate entities. Birsa Agriculture University. So this university is a well-known name. It was established in 1981 after its formal inauguration by then Prime Minister of India, late Srimati Indira Gandhi ji, and its primary objective is to develop area-specific technologies and manpower in the field of agriculture, animal husbandry, and forestry for the agriculture development of Jharkhand and economic upliftment of tribal and other backward class population of the region. The programs and activities of teaching, research, and extension are being carried out here through seven faculties and 12 colleges. Beside these, one college of biotechnology, one center for agribusiness management, six directorates, three zonal research stations, university farm, 16 KVKs, computer center, central library, ATIC radio, Haryali, Krishi, Pathari and other infrastructure and service units are also available in the university. So the university is well equipped with all the required infrastructure. And the College of Veterinary Science and Animal Husbandry was established on 30th November 1961. Initially, it was a part of Ranchi University. Later on, it became a constituent of Rajendra Agriculture University and focused on UG programs. And PG courses were added later on, and it was further expanded in 1977. In 1981, it was incorporated into Birsa Agriculture University and has since offered UG, PG, and PhD program along with diploma and certificate courses. So this college is also involved in teaching, extension, and research activities. So I congratulate the organizers and the entire organizing committee for organizing this insightful training program for all the veterinarians. So today we are highly privileged to have our honorable dignitaries among us. So dear audience, first of all, our first speaker of the day is Dr. Tarun Pal Singh. So before inviting sir to deliver his talk, I will let you know a little bit about sir. Dr. Tarun Pal Singh is a scientist specialized in livestock production technology at the ICR Central Institute for Research on Goats in Mathura. His expertise include processing goat and yak milk, and their products, developing value-added goat meat products, bioactive packaging, and incorporating bioactive components and nutraceuticals into designer and functional foods. Throughout his career, he has held various research positions at ICR NAM, Hyderabad, ICR National Research Center on Yak, Arunachal Pradesh. And his notable achievements in recent years include obtaining ICR certification for two research technologies in 2022 and 3, developing cheddar style York milk cheese, various formulation for goat milk yogurt, and goat milk fat modulation for healthier dairy products. He has also worked on characterizing yak milk fat and creating innovative goat milk based products like fermented beverages, Gouda cheese, mozzarella cheese, and whey based beverages. Dr. Singh has an extensive publication record with 2 books, 10 book chapters, 35 research papers, and numerous abstracts and technical articles. Some of his most impactful research has been published in high impact journals, focusing on the quality, composition, and functional properties of goat and yak milk products. In terms of research, products, sir has successfully completed 5 projects and 3 are ongoing. His contributions have been recognized with multiple awards, including the Alenson's Young Scientist Award, Best Poster and Paper Presentation Award, the Appreciation Award from the Director of ICR-CIRG for Outstanding Research Contribution in the year 2023. So, sir, looking at your achievements, I can say that you are indeed a source of inspiration for all of us and all the participants. So, we are truly honored to have you on board today. And today, sir is going to talk on the topic, which is lab-grown meat implications for animal welfare. So, sir, I'm very sure that participants are going to get a lot of knowledge from you today, and they will get a lot of benefit from your talk. So, with these words, I would like to hand over this virtual stage to you, sir. So, over to you, sir.
Uh, my screen is visible now.
Yes, sir, your screen is visible.
Okay. Thank you, ma'am, for introducing me, and especially in a good manner. And I'm thankful to the organizers, especially the Department of Animal Nutrition, College of Veterinary Science, VAU Ranchi, for the Vice Chancellor, sir, Dean, sir, or my senior, Dr. Dinesh Kumar, and Madam Himani Gautam, and sir from Biotech, Kota. This 7 days international training workshop program, and the topic given to me is lab grown meat implication for animal welfare. So the topic given to me is rightly mannered in sustainable futures. If you want to sustain the future, you need to different type of meats.
Sir, you can start, but before that, you can just put your presentation on slideshow mode.
Okay, okay,
Yeah, so
it's okay now.
not yet, not.
Now, ma'am.
No, sir, I can't see it on slideshow mode. Yeah, you can reshare.
Now, okay.
On slides mode only, not on slideshow mode.
Now, ma'am.
No, sir. I think
Now.
no, sir. Actually, you have to share the entire screen.
Full screen,
And
Dr. Tarun.
Uh,
स्क्रीन कीजिए lower right side in bottom there is option for full screen slide showing.
I think now it's okay.
sir,
Okay, ma'am.
it's not visible in full screen mode.
In my computer, it's visible in full screen, full zoom mode.
Okay. You can also share your presentation with Dr. Dinesh. He can also present through his system, I think.
Right hand side in corner there is option for full screen slide show.
Actually, I think it's visible in Dr. Tarun's system, but not visible in the Zoom. There is some.
Dinesh sir, you can share the slides if you have,
Yeah, I think
Okay.
there.
Now,
because sometimes it's a technical
No,
issue.
sir, I think there is some technical issue with the
Yeah.
system.
it's okay now, or it's in slide mode only.
A slide
हाँ,
mode.
I think
Your
आपकी तरफ
side
से
is
तो आ रहा
slide
है, but
mode.
यहाँ से नहीं आ
From
रहा
my
है.
side, it's okay, but not from
Got
your
it,
side.
got it, got it. Sometime like that because internet
हाँ.
speed may be like that. So you can share this to Dinesh sir and
Okay,
me
okay,
also
okay.
and Imani and so we can do like that.
I am sending my presentation to Dr. Dinesh sir. No?
Definitely.
Yeah.
It's sent in Google Drive, sir.
No, email
Yeah.
kr.dinesh7@gmail.com.
On email I sent.
Okay. You continue your talk. I will share here.
Then I need to stop from my side,
No
no?
need to stop.
Yeah,
At least you
you can just give some introductory remarks to the participants.
Okay. So the topic given to me is the lab-grown meat implication for animal welfare. And in terms of animal welfare, our father of nation quoted one quote that the greatness of a nation and its moral progress can be judged by the way its animal are treated. Before going into the topic, I would like to discuss about the meat. What is the meat? Meat refers to the edible flesh that obtained after the slaughtering of the animals. And during slaughtering of the animal, there is a lot of different type of the physicochemical changes, like physical changes and certain biochemical changes. And animal is slaughtered. There is a certain kind of metabolism shifts from aerobic to anaerobic states, and there is a oxygen depletion from aerobic to anaerobic. Then glycogen is converted into lactic acid, which definitely help in the lowering of the muscle pH from 7 to 5.6. And this is a ideal pH of meat. There is a rephosphorylation of ADP to ATP. There is a connecting link between the actin and myosin. There is a formation of actomyosin bond during this conversion. And finally, muscles goes into the rigor mortis state, that is the stiffness of muscles. Certain proteolytic changes also happen during this convergence that lead to the tenderization of muscles, and certain flavor and sensorial aspect is developed in case of the meat. And different type of the enzyme during tenderization of muscles is work like calpin, cathepsins. After obtaining obtaining meat from the muscles, we would like to know about the what is meat. And meat is composed of mainly the skeletal muscles, and 90% muscles is skeletal muscles, and other is fat and connective tissue that is contribute around approximately 10%. Blood vessels is less than percent, 10 less than 1%. So meat is generally considered as a nutritive product, and you are seeing in the right pictures that it is mainly composed of proteins, fats, different type of the vitamins, mainly the vitamin B12, which is totally absent in case of the plant kingdoms. So we can take rightful portions of vitamin B12 from the meat, and also the minerals like iron, zinc, and selenium. It has a lot of unique structural, compositional, and other qualities like palatability, digestibility, and organoleptic attributes. If you see the present scenario of the meat productions, we need approximately 83 billion land animals, and that produces more than 350 million tons of meat in 2024. It is projected to increase 366 million tons in case of the in 2029. And if you want to sustain this projected population of 9.1 billion, you need approximately 465 million tons of the meat in 2050. So we need another options like in vitro meat, or whether it is the meat analogs to fulfill the requirement of proteins for this increasing populations. At present, if we see the animal protein contributing only 40% of total protein consumption at present, and there is a surge of 76% in 2050 in case of this meat productions. If you see these pictures, left right corners, that is above more than 350 million tons of meat, mainly contributed by poultry and pig, bovine, and ovine. And ovine contribute the sheep and goat. The country that eat the most meat is the USA, Australia, Argentina, followed by Israel, Brazil, New Zealand, Chile, and Canada. If you
Dr.
see
Taren,
meat
stop
consumption
sharing.
from,
I will share here.
can I stop share?
Yeah. You stop sharing. I am going to share here.
शेयर करिए सर. Hello.
Now, one second.
The screen is not visible, sir. Hello.
Yeah, I think Dr. Dinesh has disconnected due to some technical issue.
So I need to share or wait for some minutes.
Yeah, we can wait for a few seconds.
Okay, ma'am.
Dr. Tarun, continue.
सर ये
Yeah, but
जूम
Dr.
मोड में
Dinesh is still
जूम
not
मोड
on
में
the
करिए इसको.
presentation mode.
यहाँ तो आ रहा है नॉर्मल.
Not in zoom mode.
Okay, wait.
The same,
Still
the
in a
same
slide mode.
issue, same issue we are facing again.
1 second.
Yeah, now
Yeah,
okay.
it's fine now.
Okay.
Next slide, sir. Next slide.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Next.
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 This one.
Okay.
Okay.
So sorry for the inconvenience. So if you see this slide, right upper corner, and you see the meat consumption from 1961 to 2050, the mainly contribution by the poultry, then followed by pig meat, followed by beef and buffalo, then sheep and goat, and lastly eggs. So this is the total species that reared for food animals is contributing in the meat consumption from 1961 to 2050. If you see the production wise, from 1961 to 2022, lower right corner, that mainly continent that help in the meat production is Asia, followed by Europe, then North America, followed by South America, Africa, and Oceania. Next. This is the scenario of India, where meat production exists at 10.5 million tons. And if you see the per capita availability of meat, that per supply per person, it is only 7.1 kg. So there is a wide gap between the recommendation and the meat productions. If you see the recommendation of Indian Council of Medical Research, they recommend that people in India consume 30 gram of meat per person per day. So if you calculate this for per year, it's coming around 10.5 kg. So we are 3 kg lesser at present. So you can think about the future when we will go in a 2050. What is the future? And you need to think about other meat product, other meat sources like in vitro meat or meat analog also. In case of the India, if you see the state wise, the most of the southern portion and northeast region and Leh Ladakh region, Jammu Kashmir share the largest in case of the non-veg meat, and this 77% of population share the non-veg portions. If you see the rank of India in case of the global hunger index, it is very serious, and that 105th, and in future that will be more alarming stage. Next. Now the conventional meat production is peak reached or not is the mainly discussion. Meat production is inefficient way of utilizing these plant protein into the animal protein through rearing food animals. When we rear these food animals for the current global meat production, they create some kind of pressure over the fresh water. That is 70% of total fresh water consumed for this current global meat production. 70% of total available lands consumed for this productions, to 20% of electricity, 40% of total grains, 70% of total soya, and lastly 800 million tons of cereals. That is about one third of all cereal production that used for animal feed. So there is a direct competition between the human being and animals. So we need to, again, I am saying that we need to think for others production like in vitro meat and meat analogs, or we can say insect meat or other sources of meats. And if you see the greenhouse gas emission by these rearing of these animals, there is a 14.5% of total greenhouse gases in the environment that created by these rearing of the animals. Next. There is a lot of concern during the meat production. First is the animal welfare issue during the rearing and slaughtering of animal. If you see the slaughtering steps that starts from farm to the production end, when we handle the animal, we loading the animals, there is a transport of animals, unloading the animals. During lairage, there is a anti-mortem examinations and handling before the stunning process, and different type of the stunning process that creates a lot of animal welfare issue, and then breeding issue. So lot of steps where animal suffers. So we have to minimize all these steps to create ethical meat, or we can say pain-free meat. Lot of environmental issues like deforestation or environmental pollutions, public health concern like cardiovascular diseases, obesity, foodborne outbreaks. Like today is a tuberculosis day. So lot of diseases in the form of zoonotic diseases that transfer from livestock to the human beings in the form of zoonotic outbreaks like occupational hazards. Another is the public health concern like cardiovascular disease, obesity. The regular intake of red meat, that is 120 gram per day, and processed meat 30 gram per day, reported to increase the risk of cardiovascular diseases and colorectal cancers. As per the World Health Organizations, eating 50 gram of processed meat, there is an increased chance of developing colorectal cancer by 18%. There is a certain kind of concern in the form of these animal welfare, environmental issue, public health. So there is a need to think about the alternates, that is in vitro meat productions. So here, why being a meat sciences, here I want to say only one thing: everything in moderation. If you do everything in moderation, that is good for the environment, that is good for the animal, that is good for the public health. Next. So this is the whole summary that I already told you in previous slide. If you reach at 9.1 million in 2050, your future scenario is plant-based meat analogs, cultured meat, insects, single-cell proteins, and efficient meat productions. You need to increase meat productions in the form of plant-based meat analogs, cultured meat, insect in the form of proteins, or efficient. Increase the productivity by using different type of supplements like microalgae or bacterials, single cell protein, insect as a supplement for the human being, also for the livestock. So there is a pressure over the land, pressure over the environment, pressure over the climates. Next. So first first with the topic, I would like to discuss the in vitro meat. What is the in vitro meat? So this is a new concept that comprises of food technology, and where we use the tissue engineering and cellular agricultures. Here we produce the edible biomass by using the in vitro culture of stem cells that harvested from the muscles of live animals. A set of technologies that like scaffold technology, or we can say the self-organizing technology that will be used for production of in vitro meat, or we can harvest the high quality animal protein by producing only low ecological footprints, as well as a potential alternative to conventional animals reared to a great extent. Next. So in vitro meat has lot of synonyms like cultured meat, synthetic meat, lamb meat, cell-based meat, factory-grown meat, Frankenstein meat, and artificial meat. In 2015, another term came in the market, that is the clean meat. Due to certain researchers think that the meat is sustainable, that provides sustainability for the future. It's a slaughter-free, it's a hygiene. So researchers came with the new tagline, that is clean meat. But this tagline objected by the certain conventional meat production researchers, that if this is clean meat, then conventional meat is unclean meat. So this is a lot of objection about this terminology. Next. Now, what is the prospects of in vitro meat? If you apply these technology at industrial scale with suitable technological intervention, has the potential to fulfill the requirement of animal protein to fulfill the future of 9.1 billion in 2050. A survey conducted by A.T. Kearney, that they predicted that in 2040, 60% of global meat requirement will be fulfilled by non-conventional production method like plant-based meat analogs, that is 25%, and cultured meat is about 35%, and remaining conventional meat is 60%. Next. So these are the journey that achieved during the production of in vitro meat. The first milestone in 1912, and we passes around 113 years from 1912. First milestone achieved in 1912 is Alexis Carrel keeps a piece of chicken heart muscles alive for 34 years by using these technologies. Second, that first peer review article published on in vitro meat in 2005. NASA produced goldfish by using this technology, and first tissue engineering patent was filed as a 7th milestone in December 2002. There's a lot of milestones came in during this process, and up to 2025, and still we are discovering, still we are researching whether this is good or not. Next. Alexis Carrel, that I already told you, that successfully maintained the embryonic chicken cardiac muscles for up to 34 years. Next. The first patent for industrial production of in vitro meat for human and animal consumption was granted for William Frederick in 1999. Next. In 2002, NASA scientists successfully cultured the muscle tissue from common goldfish. Next. The world first lab-grown burger unveiled at public testing in 2013. Next. There is a lot of startup coming in the market to tackle the issue of this cultured meat. If you see there is a two type of model in case of the startup, that is business to business model and business to consumer models. So at present, 32 startups are continuously searching for better technological interventions to produce the cultured meat on an industrial scales. A large number of these companies mainly focusing on cultured beef, that is 25%, followed by poultry, that is 22%, and then pork and seafood 19% each, and lastly exotic meat 15%. So there is a mainly this in vitro meat highly followed by this cultured beef, followed by poultry, pork, seafood, and exotic meat. You can enjoy the exotic meat in case of the in vitro meat, but not in case of the conventional meat productions. If you see the continent wise, 40% company based in North America, and followed by Asia 31% and Europe 25%. Two companies are exploring the mouse meat by using these technologies, and two companies are working on kangaroo and horse meat as a pet food. Next. This is the pictorial representation. Next. So in 2024, Wang et al. And his co-workers isolate the adipocytes and myocyte, and they co-culture these two cells for producing the meat with higher digestibility as compared to the beef. And they also found that the meat obtained from this technique have a higher improved sensory qualities and more cell viability and more cell differentiation. Cultivated meat companies were also launched in case of the Mexico and Brazil for the first time, and seafood company were established in Africa in 2022. So this is the recent invention is going on. Like you already aware about PETA. PETA is an animal welfare society that also offering lot of research grant for doing research over the in vitro meat productions. Next. These are the pictorial different type of the startups that coming or came in the markets. Next. So you are seeing this table that representing the different type of the startups, their country, from their origination, the company name, and then what is the product they are supplying. Since 2013, lot of startup came in the markets, and they are producing lot of products, and with their representation that USA, Netherlands, Israel, then Australia, Belgium. So most of the country covered in this startup category. Next. US startup just launched the chicken whites, chicken nuts. They generally use this capacity of 1200 liter of bioreactors for producing a large chunk of meat from the for supplying the US and Singapore also. And companies selling it at competitive price of $23. You can see that the price of meat is too costly. So if as the technology going to advance, this price will go down in near futures. And Singapore is the first country to approve the sale of lab-grown meat in 2013. This is also first country in the world that to approve the sale of lab-grown meat, followed by then USA, then UK, then Australia. Next. The world first lab-grown clean meat goes on sale in Singapore. This is the news that coming in the market. Artificial meat, UK scientists growing bacon in labs. Meat the future. Israeli researchers developing plant-based scaffold that may enable rapid production of cultured meat. So these are the news that coming in the market, and lot of. Next. A British startup, IB Farm, said it planned to bring cell-based pork sausage to market by 2023. And by 2025, IB Farm hopes to producing 12,000 of slaughter-free cultured pork by using these technology. And by this technology, they save the life of 1,70,000. You see the potential, how single cell converted into the 12,000 tons of slaughter-free cultured pork, and they saving the life of 1,70,000 pigs. IB Farm Technology also established with the Oxford University that support and to get approval and start selling cultured pork in the UK by 2023. And they partner with the Symbio Power Labs to cultivate at higher scales. Next. So lab-grown meat is the rise. It's time to ask tough questions. And today testing of in vitro meat could herald a future-free, needless animal suffering and polluting factory farms. Next. So if you see the scenario of India, the present clear meat, India's first lab-based meat, they only producing two products like cultured clean meat, cultured chicken meat at the lab scale only, and clear X9 culture media that ready for the industrialization. Another CCMB, Hyderabad, signed a MOU with the National Research Meat Institute, Hyderabad, and they got a grant of 4.5 crores for 2-year work by DBT for starting research over the in vitro meat. This is also a 2 or 3 years back news. And another is the CMFRI. They embark on developing lab-grown fish meat by tying MOU with the meat biotech, Mr. Sandeep Sharma. Next. Next. So this is the different advantages and challenges during the in vitro meat production. First challenge is the consumer acceptance, whether consumer accept it or not. Cost of production, unknown risk, sensorial characteristic. I will discuss in upcoming slides, and uncertain environmental benefits, employment concern, and different type of the possible methods we can use for the culture meat production, like cell culture techniques, tissue culture technique, different organ printing like 3D meat, nanotechnology, and biophonetics. So this is the possible method that will be used for culture meat production, and lot of advantages for production of this in vitro meat, like low land water, environmental friendly, designer and safe, animal welfare, fast and efficient, rich. Next. So in vitro meat production, there is a several technology, some under the stage of commercialization, some still under the development stage, some conceptualization stage, and some on feasible on laboratory scales. So these are the four category of these in vitro meats. Next. Possibly we use two techniques. First is the self-organizing technology and second is the scaffold technology. Scaffold where we harvest the myoblast cells from the donor animals and these myoblast cells attached to a scaffold and then transferred to the bioreactors that contain lot of media, growth media and different type of the fetal serums that support the growth of these myoblasts that converted into myotubes, then finally converted to myofibers and that will be utilized as a products. Second is the self-organizing techniques. That is a tissue culture technique where we use the similar techniques, but we don't use this scaffold in case of the self-organizing technique. The cell self then organize over the bioreactors, then proliferates in the case of the culture mediums. If you compare these two techniques, in case of the scaffold techniques, mainly used for the boneless meat, but in case of the in self-organizing technique, mainly used for the structured meats. There is a difference in the products when we obtain these from these two techniques. Next. So these are the self-organizing techniques where researcher saw the incidence of necrosis because there is a less porous techniques and lot of culture cell present at 0.5 mm and more distance. So there is a chances of poor nutrient supply in case of these techniques. So you can see the incidence of necrosis. But if you see the product of self-organizing technology, where the conventional meat in structure composition, it's similar to the conventional meat in terms of their adipose tissue, circulatory system, or muscle tissue. Next. This is the scaffold technology where we use the scaffolds that made up of collagen or microcarrier beads and we transferred into the growth media of bioreactors and these cells proliferates or differentiated into the other cells or divide in weeks or months over the collagen or microsphere. This is the porous in nature, so there is no problem of any kind of nutrients or oxygen supplies. Next. So this is the pictorial representation that we harvest the cell from the donor animals at rightly after birth or within birth because there is a differentiation of cell is good at birth and semi tendinosus muscles or we can choose the brachiocephalus muscles from the donor animals. We also select these adipocyte cells and co-culture this over the microporous scaffolds. Then this transferred microporous scaffold transferred to the bioreactors that contain the selective culture media, a lot of fetal bovine serum and other growth factors like oxygen and other nutrients. And then it grow into the myofibers, that is the lab cultured meat, and directly you can eat it as a processed meat products. Next. Here the similar, the growth hormones, nutrients, plant-based media you can put in case of the bioreactors. The similar, this is techniques that I discussed in previous slides, and this is the after formation of this product, you have to label the product and packet the product and supply to the market. Next. This is the double filling scaffolds for marbled cultured meat, like marbling. You can see the marbling in case of the conventional meat, but not in case of the in vitro meat. So you have to develop this in marbling in case of the meat in the form of adipocyte. You have to choose adipocytes and co-culture with the myocytes and align with the scaffolds and then transfer to the bioreactors. Next. This is the preparation of reagents for step 1. First step is the isolation of muscle satellite cells, or we have to prepare the culture medium and different type of the growth factors like basic bioplast growth factors, different fetal bovine serum, different enzymes like collagenase D, dispatch, calcium chlorides, like chemicals. Then all these preparation will done in the hygienic manner and you have to isolate the cells under hygienic way and put all these chemicals and differentiate these cells, passage these cells, and supply to the microporous techniques. Next. This is the differential between the cultured meat and conventional meat product. Here you can see that you isolate just cell line and multiply the cell line by using these techniques. The obtained muscles fibers, that addition of missing compounds. Lot of compounds is missing in case of the cell cultured meat. So you have to add according to your requirements and then convert it to meat. If you see the conventional meat production, you have to grow the animals from first stage, second stage, at their ideal stage for respective animals. You have to slaughter the animals. These muscles is converted into meat, then undergo the agings, then meat. So this is the comparison between the cultured meat production and conventional meat productions. Next. Next. This is the scaffolds. Previous slide, sir. So lot of challenges during the scaffolds. Scaffold technique cannot produce highly structured meat like steaks, but can be used to produce ground and boneless meats with soft consistency. If you compare it, this techniques with the self-organizing technique, where you can the hard consistency, but here here you produce the ground and boneless meat with soft consistency. A certain scaffold like collagen beads used as a scaffold in the bioreactor for production of myocytes. So these are the pictorials of scaffolds. Next. So ideal scaffold should be sourced from non-animal source. There is a large surface area for the proper growth and attachment of cells, flexible with tissue like stiffness for proper growth of myotubes, proper medium diffusion to prevent the chances of necrosis, and able to separate easily from the cultured meat. A lot of various edible and inedible polymers like collagen, cellulose, synthetic polymers will be used as a base materials for the scaffold materials. If you want to use edible scaffold, that make the process faster and avoid removing cultured meat from the scaffolds. Mostly hydrogels with porous structures, that will be good for the scaffold techniques, that will be utilized as a base material, and it will be provide the optimum cell growth similar to the extracellular matrix in vivo. Next. So another is the culture media. We have two types of the culture media, but it is animal source from the plant source. Animal source derived media is costly, inconsistent supply, inconsistent composition, risk of pathogen also, ethical concern, unfit for the vegan and vegetarian populations. So definitely, lastly, unsuitable for the production and industrial case. So these are the issues with the culture media. So next. So you need to use the plant-based media, but there is also issue with here, like some plant-based media you show the allergic reactions in case of the sensitive concerns. Some scientists use the ultra-source G as a alternative to the CM-based media that contain all the necessary ingredients required for the cell proliferations. Some use the amino acid plant-based media. So issue with the animal-based media also, and issue with plant-based media also. So, but the animal-based media is costly as compared to the plant-based media. So the recommendation of researchers is that for the proliferation of this meat, you need to use the plant-based media. Next. And then oxygen carriers. Oxygen carrier is also necessary for proliferation of cells, that will be responsible for different metabolic activities that depend on the cell density, how the cell density during their cell proliferations. If you see that lack of proper oxygen supply, that affect the survival of cells or lead to the necrosis also. And various modified form of hemoglobins and synthetic chemicals have potential to carrier of oxygen in bioreactors. So you can use the carriers, or you can directly use the certain sources for supplying of oxygen that need to helpful in case of the proliferation of these cells during this technology. Next. Now another technique is the 3D bioprintings, but every technique has their own challenge, like control process of cell distribution high cell deposition, innervation. There is a problem of circulatory system with integrated 3D tissue. Next. Another technique is organ printing. This technique essentially involves the spraying of live cells in layers which fuse to create three-dimensional structure of any shape, such as ring, tubes, or seed. You can see in case of the picture where 3D cultured meat showing in this picture. And lot of technique like laser printing, extrusion printing, inkjet printer, powder bonding printing, selective laser printing, and hydrogel forming extrusion. So lot of technique can be used for organ printing. So this is also a future of this in vitro meat. Next. So these are the 7 challenges for in vitro meat productions. First is the production challenge, adequate cell supply challenge, nutrient supply issue, culture media issue, technological challenge, animal welfare issue, cost of production is also a challenge, and then sustainability. Next. First, we discuss the production challenge. Like most of the this research that going on the in vitro meat utilized in case of the battery plates. But when we need to the scaling up this technology on the industrial scale, there is a problem of scaling up. The input issue, we don't get culture media, we don't get micro carriers, we don't get the oxygen carriers, growth regulators. So lot of production issue from their production to the supply. Next. Then cell supply issue, whether we are getting cells, it is proper identification. There is separation issue also, hygienic issue also, whether it is rightly divided or not, or certain alternative like we can use the embryonic stem cells. Other is the nutrient supply issue. We need to develop advanced bioreactors of large in capacity that supply a large chunk of meat to the growing populations. Next. Now, sustainable culture media will also need, we supply the culture media or scaffold at economic cost without the risk of contaminations. So this is also an issue during the production of this in vitro meat. Next. Now, animal welfare and ethical issue. Harvesting process of donor cells should be painless and stress-free. When we are isolating or taking cells from the animals, whether it is painless or not, you need to take care. Culture media based on fetal serum obtained from blood of fetus, it also need to take care. And we need to take care 5 freedoms for the animals, like freedom from thirst and hungers, freedom from discomfort by providing appropriate shelter, freedom from injury and disease by providing proper treatments, then freedom to express their own kind of by providing proper facilities, freedom of fear and mental sufferings. So this is divided into the nutrition, environment, health, behavior, and mental states. If you are maintaining all these freedoms, you are giving good animals and maintaining good welfare for the animals. Next. If you are doing animal cruelty directly or indirectly, you are affecting the meat quality. If you are giving stress before the slaughter, that increase the cortisol and adrenaline, and it increase the poor texture in case of the meat. It tough the meat. If you are handling animals or transport the animals in harmful way, that bruises the skin of animals, that reduces the carcass yield or creating certain kind of dark spot over the meat. If you are rough slaughtering practices, if you are using rough slaughtering practices that lead to the incomplete breeding, that lead to the dark firm dry meat, especially in case of the cattle, and if you are not providing rest and nutrition to the animals, that depletes all the glycogens that lead to the pale soft exotic meat. There is in the pictures you can see the difference between the PSC normal meat and DFD meat. So lastly, solution is a human handling, stress-free slaughter, and ethical farming that improve the meat quality and also win the consumer trust. Next. Then cost of production. I already told you that in vitro meat is, if you see the present scenario, it is $37 in 2022. But as the technology advances, the cost of production is going down. like in case of the predicted $4 in 2026. If you compare it with the 2019, it was 7,398. In 2021, Future Meat Technology announced that it produces 4 ounces of chicken breast at a cost of $4. So as the technology advances, these rate will go down, and definitely helpful for the growing population. Next, consumer acceptance. When we develop novel food, there is an issue with the consumer acceptance. We need to accept it. The cost of culture meat, it also create a neophobia in case of the consumer rights, whether it is comparable with the cultured meat or not. Changing dynamics of meat eating in developing countries. If you compare UK and USS, there is only a willingness to eat is lower in case of the UK as compared to the United States. Minority of only 16 to 14% people are willing to consume cell-based meat in case of the UK. So proportion is lower at present, but there is a chance of increase in case of the futures. International evidence indicate that people who regularly consume the plant-based meat are also more open to having cell-based meats. So they want animal stress-free meats. So that is cultured meat. That is good for future. Next, sustainability. You need to sustain a lot of issue that related to the industrial scales. For battery plate is okay, but when we want to produce meat at industrial scale, there is a production of, you need growth factors, growth inhibitors, antibiotics for media preparations. You need to efficientize the whole process of this in vitro meat productions. A lot of waste generated during the process. You need to think about the different disposal techniques and lot of volume of greenhouse gas emission. So you need to think about this. During in vitro meat production, there is a lot of challenges in the form of sustainability. Next. Now, in vitro meat, if you compare with the conventional meat, there is a salient merit over the conventional meat, like maintenance of small herd. You can maintain the small herd of animal for supplying of stem cell as compared to the conventional meat. Better composition and structural control. If you want a omega-3 fatty acid meat, then you can develop in case of the in vitro meat by putting omega-3 sources, or you want flavonoids meat, you can control it. So better composition and structure control in case of the in vitro meat. Then improving nutritive value, definitely it is a hygienic way of production without any food toxicant or pathogens. You can produce rare and exotic meats, like you want lion meat or deer meat or any other meat like any wild animal meat. So you can produce by using single cell from the wildlife, and you can produce it. It is a sustainable and environmental friendly productions. It is helpful for the climate, it is helpful for the environment, it is helpful for the animal welfare also. There is a minimum byproduct generation during this quality meat production by without affecting the animal. Sustainable option or suitable option for space. If you have lab space, you can produce the in vitro meat, and you require large space in case of the conventional meat. No religious taboo and social taboo attached with this in vitro meat productions, and more acceptability by the vegetarians and vegans. That is 23% in case of the India vegetarians that is also can consume this meat. Next. Now, food safety regulations. No defined regulatory framework in place at present, and only Singapore and USA approved the sale of cultured meat, and most of the country following these guidelines and making the guidelines. These guidelines differ with country to country, and you need to apply these guidelines for consumer acceptance or for any kind of novel products. In case of the USA, FDA overlooking cell collection, cell banks, cell proliferations, also harvesting, labeling the products. In 2024, FS and Food Standards Scotland were awarded 1.6 million euros to launch a program for cell cultivated meat. So these are the food safety regulation you need to follow it for novel products. This is the in vitro meat. Next. So food fears. When certain foods came in the market, lot of fear came in the minds of consumers. Like 40% of consumer have lost enjoyment of food due to concern about safety and quality. And 18 to 40, if you see the 18 years to 44, 50% increase awareness about the food intolerance, food allergy, and other condition. In case of the 45 plus, it is 58%. Top 5 most fear ingredients in case of the food, that is bacteria हो सकता है, pesticide, improper food handling, contamination, food poisoning. But if you about your children, that is bacteria, pesticide, कहीं high arsenic level, high mercury level, food poisoning. Then 1/3 of consumer are willing to accept less healthy ingredients in foods and beverage products. 1/4 of adults have food allergy problems. 1/3 of children have either dairy nut allergy. So these are the concerns that came in the minds of consumer when certain new foods come in the market. Next. So these are the conclusions that it has a potential advantage over the conventional meat. Whatever the technology you are adopting for the in vitro meat production, it should be cost effective. You need better sustainable inputs for the productions, and you are need to aware the peoples or consumers about or acceptance of this novel foods. This is a kind of ethical revolution in meat production that eliminate the need for animal slaughter. It definitely reduce the animal suffering in factory farms. It's sustainable and human alternatives. There is a lot of challenges and future potential like scaling production for affordability at large scales and gaining consumer acceptance and regulatory approval by FDA. It's a steps towards a cruelty-free food system. And lastly, in vitro meat offers a compensate, sustainable, and viable solution for the future move. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much for covering up this wonderful topic. And this is indeed a very interesting topic, and there are certain questions around the topic, but I think most of them you have explained them. You have explained them. Your presentation, your talk is overall it's self-explanatory. So we are just waiting for some of the questions from the participants if we get. And till then, I want to ask you a question that if we are going to adapt this lab-grown meat, then are there any potential unintended consequences for animal population? Because there is a balance in nature, so is there going to be any disturbance?
Ma'am, there is no disturbance, but I already told you that a survey conducted by a company in US that in 2040 there is a 60% by in vitro meat and 40% by conventional meat. So you need to sources from different sources to feed this increasing populations. Population increasing day by day. We are 150 million. And if you see the world, that is 9 million in case of the 2050. So you need to feed this population by different sources, whether it is insect, whether it is in vitro meat, whether it is conventional meat or any kind of meat. Today, we also seeing in the market that is a lot of meat analogs also. That is also a part of this conventional this meat system.
Yes, I think there should be some options like this, and then we are going to meet the food demand. And also, there are going to be some of the ventures for the young professionals
Yeah.
to go for, and they can just start their own startup in these fields and earn handsome amount of money.
A lot of challenges I already discussed that since 1912, still we are improving in case of the in vitro meat production. Still we do not found the answers of how can we scale up this productions at larger level. We are just producing in case of the battery plates, and we are seeing research all corners of world, but we did not found any answers. Only Singapore and USA approved this, but we are I think 193 countries all over the world. Only two countries popularize these products. So we need to think in a manner, and at present 32 startups supporting this in vitro meat productions. So lot of future in case of the inventory meat productions in perspective of this
But
entrepreneurs.
yes, but to produce this lab-grown meat, we have to harvest the animal cells and then we need to culture them. So this harvesting of animal cells, is this completely cruelty-free, or how is this is allowed? Are there any ethical consideration or regulatory practices for that as well?
So we during harvesting of any kind of cells from the animals, we followed the biopsy technique. That is totally pain-free, and especially we followed this technique during the birth of animals, where we found the these satellite cells is under a high growing and differentiating stage. So this is totally pain-free and stress-free. There is a no need to think about animal welfare when we isolating these techniques, these cells.
Okay, sir. Okay, thank you, sir. Thank you for covering up this very
Dr.
interesting
Throne,
topic.
Yes, sir.
is any difference in terms of nutritional composition to the natural meat than the lab-grown meat?
Yeah, right question. Basically, this is the in vitro meat. There is a create a lot of difference between the sensory acceptance, like lack of blood supply, lack of adipocytes, lack of myoblast. So, lot of differences. Or industry taking care of this sensorial acceptance by infusing like saffron, by infusing beetroot powder to create a meat like color in case of the in vitro meat. So we need certain artificial ingredients from the missing in case of the in vitro meats. So that resemble like conventional meat. So
Okay, okay.
definitely there is a difference between the nutritive value between in vitro meat or this conventional meat. We need to input lot of things from outer side.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, and then also we need to standardize that how much these additives should be added.
Yeah.
So
So there is a
This
vitamin
is
lot of
also under process.
so vitamin B12 is present in vitro meat like
This is
in
totally
present.
absent. You need to
Okay.
source this vitamin B12 from outer side.
Okay,
Everything
yes,
from outer side. Just you differentiating the cells. Just myotubes, muscle fibers converting. But the missing things like simple hemoglobin and myoglobin is absent. You need to source from outer side. Everything.
what
So this
about
is
the
also a
taste?
challenging task.
What about the taste? Is it same like conventional meat or different? Although I'm a non-vegetarian, I don't know about the taste, but still
In
I'm asking.
2013, when at public forum in case of the Singapore, the by using this scaffold technology, and this product came from this technology served to the a panelist of they firstly taste this product and wow, this is just like a meat, but taste is good. Taste is just like meat, but we can not found any kind of nutrients like vitamin B12, like hemoglobin, myoglobin. We need to add from outer side. The taste is just like meat.
So it's just for taste purpose. We
Yeah.
can.
Especially for the vegetarian people, especially vegetarian people or vegan people. New term is vegan.
Vegan.
Yes, the vegetarian peoples, they have so much of these things in their mind. They will say that animal cell to hai na, we will not eat.
Yeah.
Yeah, there is
We can't eat.
religious beliefs there are.
Thank you, Dr. Throne, for a nice presentation, totally different from the conventional topic. So you highlighted the recent and new topic, lab-grown meat or artificial meat, but still is in the research progress. And countries like India is still adapting this technology. Let us
Basically,
see in
this is
the
a tough topic for me also that since last 8 years I'm working on milk and sir provided me this topic and I really work hard for this preparing these slides for the participants.
thank you
Thank
so
you so
much.
much,
I
sir.
don't know how
Thank you.
I am expressed or not.
No,
No,
you
sir, you have
express very
expressed
Great.
it
nicely.
very
At
well.
least you should know.
Yeah, very
Thank you so
nicely
much,
you
sir.
have presented.
Totally
Thank you for
different.
putting your
Yeah, sure.
efforts in this in preparing this topic and delivering such a wonderful talk. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
Okay, ma'am.
Thank you, Dr. Throne.
Thank you, sir.
Dear participants, we thank Dr. Tarun and for delivering this wonderful topic. And although it's not his specialization, so he have put on some extra efforts and delivered this topic very amazingly to all of you. So thank you, sir. And moving forward, we would like to invite our next guest,
Can I leave
Dr.
now?
Anuj Kumar. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, thank
Thank
you.
you, sir. Yes, sir. So our next guest is Dr. Anuj Kumar. So Dr. Anuj Kumar is professor at the Department of Veterinary Gynecology and Obstetrics at College of Veterinary Science and Animal Husbandry at पंडित दीनदयाल उपाध्याय पशु चिकित्सा विज्ञान विश्वविद्यालय एवं अनुसंधान संस्थान मथुरा. Sir holds a master's and PhD in veterinary gynecology and obstetrics from ICR IVRI Jatnagar, Bareilly, and sir has completed his BSc in veterinary sciences and animal husbandry from GB Pant University of Agriculture Sciences and Technology, Pantnagar. With 16 years of extensive experience, he has been actively involved in teaching UG, PG, and PhD students. He has guided 10 master's student and 1 PhD student. His research contribution include 5 research projects where he has worked as a principal investigator, and he has published more than 56 research paper, review articles, authored 5 books, and a lot of training manuals, practical manuals, and book chapters. His academic excellence and contribution to veterinary science have been recognized with several prestigious awards, including Young Scientist Award, Dr. J.B. Singh Memorial Award, Dr. V. Kurian Award of Excellence, Ram Singh Memorial National Animal Welfare Award, and Dr. C.M. Singh Shalhotra Pratibha Samman Award. So, sir, there are a lot of achievements which you have achieved, and we are not able to enlist all of them in such a short span of time. So, without wasting much time, I just can say that we have so much to learn from you, and we are very grateful that you have accepted the invitation from the organizer, and you are here among us today. So. Today, sir is going to talk on the topic which is recent advances in the management of reproductive health in cattle. So the stage is all yours, sir, and you can just start your presentation. Sir, you are not audible. Hello, sir. Sir, you are not audible to me.
सर आवाज नहीं आ रही है सर.
हाँ.
ओके सर, ओके सर.
Is there any technical issue?
Sir is trying to solve the
Yeah,
problem.
I think, sir, can rejoin the meeting.
Camera and mic is on.
I think Dr. Dinesh, you can just ask him for the presentation, and if it's not possible for him to connect through the laptop, then he can just connect through the
Mobile.
mobile phone, and you can present his
Yes,
presentation.
Yes. Sir is again trying to join, and let us see what happens this time.
Yeah, sure. And if the problem still persists, then we can just ask
Yeah.
him to share the presentation and join from the mobile phone. Dr. Dinesh, are you able to connect with Dr. Anuj?
Yes, ma'am. Sir is trying to join. I ask him to send the PPT, sir. I will share from
Yeah, yeah.
here. Just you
Yes,
connect on the
yes.
mobile.
Yes. It will be a good option.
Yeah. 1 second.
Okay. Dear participants, can kindly bear for a few moments. Dr. Anuj is trying to rejoin the meeting. So till the time Dr. Anuj is rejoining the meeting, I request the participants to give their feedback in the chat box, like how is their experience in joining this training program, or do they have any suggestion about the topics, like in upcoming training programs, which topics we can cover, or like anything suggestions for the upcoming training program. If they have or feedback, they can share in the chat box.
Yes. Now it is audible, Dr.
Yes,
Dinesh.
you're
Yes, sir. It is
perfectly
audible,
audible.
sir.
Oh,
Yeah.
just.
Yes, sir. Now you can share your screen.
Yes, yes.
So, dear participants, Dr. Anuj has rejoined, and thank you for your patience.
My screen is visible now.
No,
No,
sir.
sir.
Entire screen.
Sir, I have one suggestion. If you are facing any technical issue in sharing the screen, you can share the PPT to us or Dr. Dinesh, to anybody, and we will present your presentation.
Dr. Dinesh, is it visible
Yes.
now?
No, sir.
No.
No, sir.
On one participant.
Send your PPT, sir, Dr. Dinesh.
I send you email ID, sir, in your WhatsApp group.
Just a minute.
Just a minute.
Okay, sir.
उसको बंद करना पड़ेगा ना यहाँ से वो जरा मेल आईडी बताओ आकाश इन्होंने भेजा है व्हाट्सएप हाँ के आर दिनेश DINESH 7 @gmail.com
Dear participant, please bear with us. Due to technical glitch, we are not able to start.
Dr. Dinesh, kindly check. I
Yes,
sent
sir,
the
I am
mail.
checking, sir. Yet to receive, sir.
Yeah, kindly present, Doctor.
I yet to receive mail.
इसमें से ग्रुप टेक ग्रुप रॉन्ग टैब में नहीं आएगा ना, विंडो में क्या है?
Okay, receive now.
इस पे शेयर करो। हाँ अब शेयर हो गया, हो रहा है, अब हो रहा है, अब हो रहा है, अब ठीक हो गया। I think now my screen is also visible.
Yeah, this is Dr. Dinesh's screen.
चलो करने दो। यार स्क्रीन शेयरिंग आ रहा है ना?
Okay. Is it visible?
Yeah, sir, visible, and please put it on slideshow mode.
आप से
Yeah.
हाँ
Okay, sir, you start presentation.
नो वो
But
तो
not on slideshow mode.
Okay, one second. Now it is in slideshow mode.
I think we can continue like that. I think it's quite visible. The font size is large enough, so I think there will be no harm. Can you just move the slides? Okay.
One second. Again.
Yeah, once start sharing the screen and then move the
हाँ,
slides.
now
Yeah,
it's
now
right.
it's
Right.
now it's okay.
Okay, right.
Okay.
Okay.
So sorry for disturbance, dear participants. As Madam introduced me, I am Anuj Kumar, currently working as a professor in the Department of Veterinary Gynecology, Veterinary University, Mathura. Next. This is my brief introduction. I belong to District Assembly, State Uttar Pradesh, and I did my graduation from Pantnagar, Master and PhD from IVRI, and I am here since last 16 years in this department. Next. So the topic allotted to me is the advances in the management of reproductive health in the dairy cattle. Since this topic covers whole of the gynecology from my department, but anyway, I tried to put some important topics from this topic that may be useful in the field, especially the persons working with the large animals. And if we see the reproductive health of the dairy cattle, there are three areas where the veterinarian should have work, like the optimizing the reproductive performance of the cattle, then addressing the common reproductive problems like the anastas, cystic ovarian degeneration, repeat breeding, and abortion, dystocia, etc. And we have to follow the standard managemental practices like the estrus detection, the timing of insemination, the pregnancy diagnosis, and other tools like estrus synchronization and culling and the breed selection. Next slide. Now, regarding the first point, optimizing the reproductive performance, our focus should be on the early postpartum therapy just after parturition. We all know there is chances of infection after parturition because cervix is open up to certain period. So if there is any infection, we have to go for the treatment. And this topic I will discuss in the coming slides in the repeat breeding. Then efficient stress detection, since nowadays we are using this artificial insemination, so stress detection is very much important, especially in the rural areas where we have to go for insemination at proper time of stress. Then breeding of animal after parturition, we have to go for the timely breeding within the voluntary waiting period to maintain the calving interval of 1 year. Next. Now, regarding the addressing common reproductive problem, this is the important areas where the veterinarian should have work on the condition like anestrus, the cystic ovarian degeneration, repeat breeding, metritis and endometritis, abortion, dystocia, and any other condition affecting the uterine health or the ovarian health that may affect the reproductive process. The next third point is the managemental practices. Here we can go for the stress synchronization, the nutritional aspect. This is also very important as far as reproduction is concerned. The diagnosis of pregnancy as early as possible, monitoring the general health of the animal, the artificial insemination, postpartum management of animal, transitional cow management, and culling of the animal regularly to increase the reproductive efficiency of the herd, and genetic improvement. Next. So out of these three areas for management of reproductive health of the dairy cattle, I will discuss about the salient point in the reproductive disorders, which are the common condition in the field, like the anestrus, the cystic ovarian degeneration, the repeat breeding, and the estrus synchronization. The first point is the reproductive disorder is the anestrus. We all know the anestrus means the absence of estrus. Here, the ovaries will be small and smooth, and there will be no cyclicity in the cattle. This is known as true anestrus. And the reason for true anestrus is mainly because of inefficient release or production of gonadotropin from the either the pituitary or the gonadotropin releasing hormone from the hypothalamus. Regarding the etiology of the anestrus, there is in India, especially in all the states of the country, the number one factor for anestrus is the malnutrition, deficiency of nutrients. That may be the energy, the carbohydrate, protein, or micro and macronutrients. Lactation is another factor. We all know in case of high-yielding animal, there is high level of prolactin that inhibit the secretion of GnRH. And environmental factor like the heat stress or the any other condition. The next slide. The diagnosis of the anestrus is based upon the history. There will be absence of estrus. Then we have to go for rectal examination. In the large animals, the ovaries will be small and smooth. Now, regarding the treatment of the anestrus, this will depend upon the etiology of the condition. We have to go, as I told you, the most of the anestrus, they are related with the nutritional deficiency in our country. So we have to go for the nutritional supplement, either in the form of mineral mixture or in the form of bolus. Then, if there is any disease, systemic or the local disease, we have to go for the treatment. Deworming, this is also important. The GI tract parasite, they indirectly affect the reproductive health of the cattle. So we should go for deworming regularly at a 6-month interval by using broad spectrum anthelmintic. Then management to reduce the environmental stress. mainly the heat stress, especially for crossbred cattle. And finally, we can go for use of hormone by using this GnRH, gonadotropin releasing hormone, or we can also use the CIDR, the progesterone device. Next slide. The CIDR containing the progesterone, and this will be this device is placed in the vagina for 7 to 10 days, 7 to 9 days, and this will give continuously negative feedback to the hypothalamus so that there is no release of GnRH. So it is accumulated in the hypothalamus, and when we remove this device CIDR from the vagina, there is massive release of GnRH from the hypothalamus that act on the pituitary to release FSH and LH, and ultimately cyclicity will start. Another progesterone in the form of Cristar ear implant that contain 3 milligram norgestomate and one injection, 2 ml injection containing 3 mg norgestomate and 5 mg estradiol valerate. This ear implant is used subcutaneously in the animal for around 8 to 10 days. Along with this injection, then it is removed similar to the CIDR. After removal, within 2 to 3 days, the animal will be in estrus. Next slide. Now, regarding this pathological estrus, there may be persistent corpus luteum. The reason for that is because of uterine pathology. And regarding the diagnosis for PCL, we have to go for sequential 2 per rectal examination at an interval of 10 to 11 days to identify the corpus luteum. This will be present on the same ovary, will be of similar size. The treatment is simple by using the prostaglandin injection. And in case of silent estrus, subestrus, or weak estrus, although this condition is common in buffaloes, mainly silent estrus, and the reason, although the exact cause is not known till date, but it is thought that this may be due to insufficient release of estrogen by the follicle, or there is need for higher threshold of estrogen in the CNS, though there are no external sign of estrus. The treatment is mainly the managemental factor to improve the heat detection. So there is no well-defined treatment for silent estrus. We have to go for the detection of estrus, clearly observing the animal morning and in the evening. Next. Now, second common condition is cystic ovarian degeneration, and this disease is mostly present in the crossbred animal having the more milk yield, and nowadays this condition is also present in buffaloes, although buffalo that is not included in today's topic or presentation. But as per my experience here, we routinely performed ultrasonography. So in buffaloes also, the condition of the cystic ovarian degeneration, they are present in the field. And in this case, there is abnormal stress behavior, there will be short cycle, or there may be an estrus. If it is a case of luteal cyst, we all know there are 2 types of cyst in the ovaries, either follicular cyst or luteal cyst. The incidence varies from 5 to 45%. That is depend upon mainly the breed or yield of the animal, and mostly it is developed during the postpartum period because of this lactational stress. And it has been seen that around 14% of the all cows develop cyst in the life, and maybe some of the animals they recovered automatically, but some animal required the treatment. Now, regarding this follicular cyst, as I told you, there are 2 types of cyst. Follicular cyst means when multiple fluid-filled structure they are present on the ovary, they will be thin-walled, and they should persist for at least 10 days. This is the definition of the cyst. And the signs are the short estrus cycle and nymphomania in the animal. Next slide. The etiology regarding this follicular cyst, mainly it is because of either low LH secretion. We all know LH is responsible for the luteinization of the Graafian follicle. So mainly it is because of the deficiency of LH, or there may be the problem of the LH receptor. So this may be the reason. Another thing is there is increased suprabasal progesterone. This suprabasal progesterone I will discuss in the coming slide in the repeat breeding. And lack of response to the estrogen, that may be the another factor. And high elder is mainly because of the release of ACTH that suppress the gonadotropin release, and increased prolactin that suppress the release of LH. And clinical signs, there will be short cycle. Nymphomania means there will be persistent heat period that may be 4 to 5 days. Frequent and copious discharge of clear mucus from the vagina. Milk production will be decreased because of high level of estrogen, and relaxation of pelvic ligament and elevation of tail end, that is known as stellatory hump in long standing cases. Next slide. So this is the picture of the ovary. We can see here the development of follicular cyst, and this is another picture showing the ultrasonographic image of the ovary containing the follicular cyst. So this is thin walled, mostly multiple in number. Next. So the diagnosis can be performed by the history, the short cycle, then clinical signs, the nymphomania, and per rectal examination is sufficient to diagnose the follicular cyst. But if we have ultrasonography, that may be more useful to see the size of the cyst, and also we can evaluate the treatment efficacy, whether there is reduction in the size or whether there is increase. Now, regarding the treatment, there are 3 strategies for the this treatment of follicular cyst. Either we can go for the GnRH therapy by using the GnRH hormone available in the market by different companies. The dose here should be the 5 ml if it is a cystic ovary. We can also use the human chorionic gonadotropin. The injection is Corulon, available in the market. The dose is 3000 IU intramuscular as a single injection. And another very good approach that mostly we don't use in the field, but here we are using this C-idea that contain the progesterone that I discussed in the treatment of anesthesia. So this progesterone give negative feedback to hypothalamus. So GnRH is accumulated. Again, the principle is same. So it is more accurate treatment for follicular cyst as compared to Receptal and Corulon. Next slide. Another cyst is luteal cyst. Luteal cyst generally formed from chronic cases of follicular cyst when they don't respond or there is no treatment. The follicular cyst is converted into luteal cyst without luteinization. So their function is like the persistent corpus luteum, and now they secrete the progesterone. So if there is high level of progesterone, there will be anestrus clinical sign, and in long time cases, they show the masculinization, like bull type character will be developed in the cattle. Next. The diagnosis is again based upon the history of the animal, then clinical signs, per rectal examination, ultrasonography, they are same. And also we can go for blood or milk progesterone level. So there will be more than 2 nanogram of progesterone will be present in the blood that indicate the, you can say the either functional CL or the luteal cyst. The treatment is prostaglandin, because this condition arises because of deficiency of prostaglandin. So we can go for the injection. The animal will be in estrus after 48 to 72 hours of injection. Next. Now, another important condition is repeat breeding. The definition we all know, the repeat breeding cattle means apparently healthy, the estrous cycle length is normal, and they are failed to conceive even after 3 successive insemination by using fertile bull semen with good semen quality with no palpable abnormality. So that animal will be known as repeat breeder, and this is the one of the major infertility problem in the field. Next, and if the characteristic of the repeat breeder, I told you the length will be normal, mucus discharge apparently normal, genitalia again apparently normal, technique of PI, proper stage of heat, bull fertile, number of services will be 3 or more, and conception, no conception, that means failed, and age of the cow is less than 10 years. Next slide. These are the causes of repeat breeding in dairy animals. That may be the genetical factor affecting the sperm at the this chromosome level or the this egg. Maybe the managemental factor means man-made factor, hormonal factors, and the infection. Infection here means subclinical infection, uterine infection, where mucus discharge is apparently normal. Now, all these factors lead to, there are two mechanisms of repeat breeding. Either there is failure of fertilization or early embryonic death. Early embryonic death means the death of the embryo before maternal recognition of pregnancy. That means before 16th day in case of cattle. Next slide. Now, regarding the incidence of repeat breeding, this is the multifactorial problem. There may be many factors involved, and incidence vary from different management system, environment, and region, and also from breed to breed. Overall incidence is 5 to 35% in the cattle. And regarding this mechanism, embryonic mortality is more than fertilization failure. There is multiple etiology, around 37%, hormonal 28%, maybe genital infection in 18% case, managemental 14%, and acquired anatomical, that is 7%. Next, these are some predisposing factor for repeat breeding. The nutrition is very important, mainly the negative energy balance, high and low protein diet. This also affects the reproductive process, deficiency of the nutrients, macro and micro. Then endocrine factor means the GnRH, LH, progesterone, and suprabasal progesterone. Infection of the tract, mainly the subclinical infection. Then poor semen handling. This will be under managemental cause. Age of the animal, genetics, immunological, formation of anti-sperm antibodies, periparturient disease, and stress, mainly the heat stress in the animal. Next, regarding the diagnosis in the individual animal is difficult, and the evaluation, they are oriented toward evaluating health of the genital tract and physiological function of the ovaries and the genital tract. We have to go for evaluation of each and every aspect to see the possibility of the etiology. The important steps in the diagnosis are, number one is the analysis of the record. We have to go for the history of the animal, number of insemination, the number of calving, then the nutritional status of the animal. So by the observing the history, we can conclude about the etiology of this repeat breeding. Then external or visual examination by using the visual examination and vaginoscopy, that may be useful for proper stud detection, color and consistency of cervicovaginal mucus, and vaginoscopy is mostly used for to see any growth or adhesion or the cases of urovagina in the animal. Next step important is the parectal palpation of the animal. By parectal palpation, we can evaluate the tone of the uterus, to see the stage of estrus, then the size of the follicle. We can evaluate if size is more than at 8 millimeters, so we can identify it by manual examination. Then ovulation depression, after ovulation, then carpus luteum and uterine infection, mainly the subclinical. And if we have ultrasonography, that may be useful to assess the ovulation. We can assess the pre-ovulatory follicle having the size of 12 to 14 millimeter. Then after ovulation, we can identify the ovulation spot and formation of carpus luteum. Now here you can see in these pictures, there is the follicle on the ovary. Then after, this is the ultrasonographic image, second one, and in third image, after ovulation, the remaining structure present at the site of follicle. Next slide. The carpus luteum, in case of cattle, mostly it is protruded on the surface of ovary. So we can diagnose by rectal examination, manual method. But if I have ultrasonography, we can also measure the size of this carpus luteum. And also we can measure the blood flow to the carpus luteum to evaluate the function of CL. So this is very important. If we have color Doppler ultrasonography, we can evaluate the amount of blood flow to the corpus luteum. And corpus luteum is the only organ in the body having maximum blood supply per unit mass in the body. So if there is less blood supply to the CL, naturally there will be a case of luteal deficiency. Next. Then another point is regarding this patency of fallopian tube. Although there is no much successful treatment in animals for this condition, but we can diagnose the patency of the fallopian tube by injecting the phenol sulfoxylene dye. This is injected in one of the uterine horn. Here now you can see this catheter is introduced in the one of the uterine horn, and then it is blocked with the help of Foley catheter. Now dye is injected, and if fallopian tube is lumen is intact, the dye will come through this infundibulum end to the peritoneal cavity, and then from peritoneal cavity it is absorbed from the reaches to the kidney and come finally into urinary bladder after 30 to 45 minutes, and then its presence can be identified in the urine. So this may be useful test for identification of the blockage of the fallopian tube. Next slide. Hormonal function, we can go for estimation of progesterone and LH for the repeat breeder case, if it is possible. And another point is test for the uterine health. We have to go for the measuring of the pH of the uterus. Normal pH of the uterus is 7.3. So that may be decreases in some cases, maybe because of infection or maybe because of imbalance in the nutrition. So the decreased pH, that is 6.9, and increased pH, that is 8, that suggests the case of endometritis. So that may affect the environment of the uterus. And white side test is useful. This is a very simple test to evaluate the subclinical endometritis. In the field, we can take the cervical mucus from the animal and then mix it with 4% NaOH, boil the mixture and then cool it. If there is formation of yellow color or pink color, that indicate the positive test. That means animal having subclinical infection. So this is the test where we can use it in the field. Next. Now, this is the uterine biopsy method for evaluating the infection in the uterus. This is the, you can say, the advanced method here. Either we can use this cytobrus technique. In the top of the slide, you can see the photograph of this cytobrus, and or you can say the intrauterine biopsy punch, where we can remove the sample from the uterus and we have to go for the staining of the sample, like the vaginal cytology in case of which, and we have to see the presence of polymorph nuclear cells. If it is a case of infection, there will be more than 5% PMN, and that indicate the case of subclinical endometriosis. So we can also use this technique to identify the cases of subclinical infection. Next slide. Now, regarding the treatment or management of repeat breeding, we have to go for, as per the etiology, like managemental factor, man-made factor, we have to go for heat detection of the animals by using teaser bulls or the manual examination or any other methods like the computer-aided techniques, correct timing of artificial insemination, and multiple artificial insemination in long stress period, mainly in case of crossbred cattle. So we can repeat artificial insemination after 24 hours so that there is more chances of conception. Next slide. Prevent stress to this cortisol. That means if there is stress at the time of stress, that will affect this hypothalamo-pituitary gonadal axis, that will affect the LH surge. So that may lead to either delayed ovulation or anovulation. So we should perform artificial insemination services at farmer doorsteps. These are the minimum standard protocol for artificial insemination. They are available on the Ministry of this Department of Animal Husbandry, Government of India. The technical knowledge of AI technician, again, it is very important for repeat breeding, especially in India. There should be a proper training to the inseminator, especially from the government recognized institute. So this can be helpful under managemental factors. Next slide. Regarding this nutrition, as I told you, this is very important, especially in India, in all of these states. We have to go for balanced ration. The poor body condition score between 1.5 to 2.5, they are responsible for repeat breeding. So body condition score should be equal to or more than 3 out of 5. And under this point, we can improve the nutrition by these various strategies like urea molasses mineral block, urea treated wheat extra, silage during fodder scarcity, and by using this polyunsaturated fatty acid. They are the recent advancement regarding this PUFA. They are helpful in follicular and embryonic development, and also they are having the role of maternal recognition of pregnancy, thereby maintenance of pregnancy. Regarding this deworming, we have to go for deworming at an interval of 6 months. Next slide. Proper storage, handling, and transport of semen. Again, this is very important managemental factor. We have to follow the standard protocol for handling of the semen. Like we can see, we should remove the straw up to the level of the neck of the L2 container, not beyond that. Here the temperature is around minus 139 or 40 degrees centigrade. So we should take care. There are some general points we all know. Next. Thawing of semen, again, we can go for either horizontal or vertical thawing. There are two protocols, either high temperature short time or short temperature long time. And under field condition, mainly the low temperature long time, that is 37 degrees centigrade for 45 seconds to 1 minute. Thawing protocol is used. Then loading of AI gun, then cutting of this extra, they are also important just to prevent the wastage of the semen during the loading of this AI gun. Next slide. All of the instruments used for artificial insemination, they should be of good quality, from stainless steel, from the company. They are recognized. They should be recognized from the government of India. They should not be from local company to improve this conception rate. Next slide. Another point in the management is malpractice of using progesterone at the time of artificial insemination. Though the AI workers and the other person engaged in this field, they should be advised, or there should be some extension services to about this role of progesterone on the fertilization and early embryonic death at the time of insemination. So the progesterone should not be used, although this practice is used in northern part of India, in the UP, the Punjab also, Haryana, and also some other states. So it should not be used at the time of insemination. Next slide. The hormonal factors, another category for repeat breeding. This is very important. Hormonal factors, the ovulatory defects and early embryonic death. There are two possibilities. There may be delayed ovulation or anovulation, and this can be identified by two sequential examinations. One at the peak stress, we will find the follicle. Another examination should be after 24 to 36 hours. If it is a normal case, you will not find any follicle after 24 hours of stress. But if it is a case of delayed ovulation, the follicle will be present on the same ovary, will be of same size, that means 12 to 15 millimeter. The treatment of this delayed or anovulation is by using either we can use the GnRH, here the dose will be 10 microgram, means 2.5 ml, or we can use the HCG corolone, that is 1500 IU. Next slide. And according to one study, during 10 to 13 days of the conception, the pregnancy rate, it has been seen that at day 0, the fertilization rate is 90% in the herd. And during 10 to 13 days of conception, the pregnancy rate is 80%, and around 10% embryo, they are failed to develop. That may be because of poor oocyte quality, delayed ovulation, or inadequate pattern of progesterone. Now at day 19, pregnancy rate is 60 to 65%. This reason for decrease in the pregnancy rate is mainly because of failure of embryo to prevent luteolysis. That means MRP will not be there, so there will be luteolysis and the pregnancy will not continue. Then after up to day 42 days, this pregnancy rate reaches to 50 to 55 days, and that may be mainly because of infection cases where there is late embryonic death after MRP. Next slide. The luteal deficiency, this is also a important areas in the repeat breeding. That may be because of the deficiency of progesterone. And if the level of progesterone during mid-luteal phase is less than 2 nanogram, then this case will be suspected for the deficiency of progesterone. That will lead to embryonic death, mainly because of failure of MRP. Now, regarding the diagnosis of this luteal deficiency, we can go for rectal examination, but it is difficult by manual examination. The important point in diagnosis is either we can go for blood or milk progesterone assay, or the color Doppler is useful to evaluate the amount of blood flow and also to evaluate the size of the corpus luteum. Now, regarding the treatment or management, again we have three strategies here. Either we can go for progesterone. Injection of progesterone, the dose will be 1000 milligram, that is 1 gram weekly interval for 30 to 40 days when placenta start function. Second strategy may be the corolone 1500 IU on 4 to 6 day of PI. And third strategy may be the GnRH, the dose is 2.5 ml on 11th day of artificial insemination. So either of these three strategies we can use in the field to prevent the case of this early embryonic death because of luteal deficiency. Next slide. Now this suprabasal progesterone, this is also a latest area of the research, and around 29 to 40% of the repeat breeding takes place in crossbreed cattle as per the one study by the suprabasal progesterone. Now what is suprabasal progesterone? Simply its meaning is if there is slightly high level of progesterone at estrus. We all know at the time of estrus the progesterone is at basal level, but if the value is more than 0.35 nanogram per ml at the time of estrus, then it is suprabasal progesterone. The effect of this suprabasal progesterone is mainly increase estrus duration. It will be prolonged, and the reason for this suboptimal progesterone is mainly because of dominant follicle from previous wave may be luteinized, the incomplete luteolysis of corpus luteum of previous cycle, that may be because of intrauterine infection, that may be because of stress, or in case of fatty animal, so progesterone may be accumulated in the fat, so that may be a source of suprabasal progesterone in the body. Now, regarding the effect that impair the fertilization, early embryonic death, and it inhibit the secretion of GnRH or LH cells. So that will lead to the delayed ovulation or anovulation, prolonged stress, and degeneration of follicle wall. Next slide. Uterine infection, another case, whether it is subclinical or clinical, mainly the treatment is almost same. So if we see the importance of the this uterine infection, that the this not only disrupt the function of uterus but also ovary and hair control center for controlling reproduction in hypothalamus and pituitary. All of the system will be affected if it is a case of infection. And it has been seen that after parturition, around 85 to 90% of the animal, there is infection of uterus. But the clinical sign will not be there. Around 70% animals self-cured because of this uterine defense mechanism, and another natural mechanism like contraction of uterus and presence of local antibodies in the uterus. Only 3 to 18% of the cases they are infected clinically. That means where uterine defense mechanism is compromised or any other cleansing effect of the uterus is compromised, they develop the clinical or subclinical uterine infection. Now, regarding the treatment option, there are the therapies, and the therapy should be mainly useful for exclusion of infection. They should not suppress the uterine defense mechanism of the dam. The frequency of administration should be limited, and no withdrawal period of the milk or meat, and the therapy should be economical. So there are various therapies for intrauterine, like this treatment of uterine infection. We can go for this infusion of glucose iodine 0.25 to 1%, around 25 to 30 ml, depending upon the capacity of the uterus. Next, prostaglandin we can also use mainly in case of postpartum uterine infection where there may be some remnant of corpus luteum. So prostaglandin remove the inhibitory effect of progesterone by luteolysis. It also stimulates phagocytosis, follicular phase, and myometrial contraction for evacuation of infection from the uterus. Some immunomodulators have also been used in recent years as a by intrauterine route, like E. coli endotoxin, E. coli lipopolysaccharide. Single intrauterine infusion of this 100 microgram of LPS in 25 ml normal saline. Homologous plasma enriched with leukocyte, and herbal drugs like neem oil, garlic extract. They are also used mainly under research in the institutes, but practically they are not commonly used in the field. But certainly in the future, there may be some scope for the use of these medicines to prevent this drug resistance. Next slide. Now, regarding the antibiotic, there are a lot of antibiotics. Either we can use for parental or intrauterine route, like the tetracycline, penicillin, cefacferin, chloramphenicol. I am not going to detail of these antibiotics, but the important point is that when we are using this antibiotic, if there is no response of the treatment, we should go for antibiotic sensitivity test by the taking the aseptically sample from the uterus. And this is the latest antibiotic, the acid that contains the safety for crystalline free sodium. Although the cost is of this antibiotic is more, but the single injection of these antibiotics by subcutaneous route is useful for treatment of the uterine infection. And if we see the pattern of treatment in foreign countries, mostly they use only the systemic antibiotic. But in our countries, mainly we are using this intrauterine and also the systemic. So this Exceed injection, the cost of 100 ml is around 7 to 8,000, but the dose is 15 ml. So if we calculate the cost of one animal, that is around 1,000 to 1,200. And if we compare the treatment with the other this routine antibiotic by intrauterine and systemic use, we have to go for 3 to 4 days treatment. So that will also cost around more than 1,000. So we can say this antibiotic can be used in the cases of uterine infection. Next slide. This is also one latest antibiotic, this cefapirin, 500 milligram by the name of Metricet. This we can also use for cases of uterine infection. Regarding this immunological factor for repeat breeding, we can change the bull, although this the point is not explored in the animals. This is important, especially in human being. So we can change the semen or the bull to prevent the formation of antibody against the particular bull. Next slide. So now this I completed various reproductive disorders as per the importance in the field. Now 4 or 5 slides are still more in my presentation. The managemental practice I take in this estrus synchronization. So this is the technique, managemental technique by using the hormone to control or reschedule the estrus cycle. The advantage of this synchronization is the saving the cost of the labor, that avoid the estrus detection cost, and there will be planned mating, timed insemination, and this will shorten the intercalving interval in the animal. Now, regarding the basis for synchronization of estrus, either we can manipulate the lifespan of CL if it is there, or second strategy may be manipulate growth of follicle and timing of ovulation. Now, regarding the extending the luteal phase or terminating the luteal phase, we can use the progesterone for extending the luteal phase, or we can use the prostaglandin to lysis the CL if it is there. Next slide. Now this prostaglandin, this can be useful only in the case where corpus luteum is present. So we can use this prostaglandin, but before that we have to identify the corpus luteum in the animal. And after this injection of prostaglandin, animal will be in estrus after 2 to 3 days. But before injecting prostaglandin, we have to rule out the pregnancy of the animal. The animal should be non-pregnant. And the effective period of this prostaglandin in the cycling animal is between 5 to 17 days. So before 5 days, after this ovulation, the corpus luteum is not responsive to the prostaglandin because of no blood circulation, and also there is no receptor present on the corpus luteum. And after 17 days, we all know there is natural luteolysis by the prostaglandin secretion from the uterus. Next slide. So this is the window. Here you can see the prostaglandin after 5 days up to the 16-17 days, we can use this for the luteolysis, for estrus synchronization. So this is very important technique, but the limitation is that the corpus luteum should be present in the animal. Next slide. Now there are 2 protocols for prostaglandin, either single PG injection or double PG injection. So if we identify the corpus luteum, we can go for single PG injection. The animals will be in estrus after injection of prostaglandin after 2 to 3 days. We can wait up to 5 days, and then accordingly we have to go for insemination. Now next slide, double prostaglandin. Double prostaglandin means either we in this method we can the corpus luteum, if we not able to identify or if we don't want to examine the animal, then we can directly go for double prostaglandin. one on the 0 day, means after 5th day of estrus, and a second prostaglandin after 11 days of first injection. And the animals which are remaining after first injection, they will be in estrus after second prostaglandin injection. Next, the another is there are several methods for estrus synchronization. Although this is a complete topic for presentation, but I have taken some salient point. The progesterone method, like we are using the CIDR that I explained during the treatment of the cystic ovary and the anastas. Here also the principle is same. We can insert the CIDR in the vagina of the animal for around 8 to 9 days. Then after removal, we can go for injection of prostaglandin. The animal will be in estrus. Next slide. Third method of estrus synchronization is by using this GnRH based protocol. There are several protocols, but I listed only 3 here. The GPG protocol, I think we all know this gonadotropin, GnRH, then prostaglandin, and then again GnRH. So there are select sync, means the single GnRH, single PG, and then after PG, there we have to go for insemination. Then off sync means the PG on the 0 day, then this GnRH on the 0 day, then 7th day PG, and third this second GnRH on 9th day. That is known as off sync protocol. Then estrus is detected and artificial insemination. And here co-sync means the time DI. The difference between off sync and co-sync is time DI. We don't go for the detection of estrus. Administration second GnRH and also the insemination of animal. Next slide. So, if we conclude this presentation regarding the management of reproductive health in the cattle, we have to go for the nutritional point, that is balanced ration in the form of the energy, protein, and other macro and micronutrients, detection of estrus and timely insemination. We can go for estrus synchronization and management of reproductive disorders like anastas, repeat breeder, and other conditions. And insemination of cattle by skilled inseminator. This is also very important, especially in our country. Next, I think next is the last slide. Thank you. So now topic is open for discussion. If any participants want any query, I will reply. Or if any participants want to add some knowledge regarding this topic, then I welcome. Thank you.
So thank you so much for this interesting and very nice topic presentation. Participants have already sent some of the question and they like your presentation so well, and they have also added some of their knowledge into the chat box. So we have some questions, and the question is, sir, are antioxidants having any role in causing anestrus and repeat breeding?
Antioxidant, yes. You see, this reproduction is the luxury process, and all of the actions in the body, all of the hormones in the body and all of the nutrients, they are directly or indirectly affect the reproduction process. So naturally, if there is low level of antioxidant, naturally that will affect the reproductive health, especially the uterus. So certainly it will affect the uterine health, and ultimately there may be the decreased conception rate.
Another question we have got from Dr. Seema. So Dr. Seema has asked that, sir, has cystic ovarian degeneration having any genetic relation?
Yes, definitely. The cystic ovarian degeneration, as I told you during my presentation, mostly it is high elder animal and it is also governed by the genes. So, if a cattle or buffalo affected with the cystic ovary, there may be chances of development of the cyst in its progeny. Definitely.
Oh.
But it is
And
not
what
necessary. But it is not necessary in all the case that a cattle will suffer from cystic ovary, their progeny will also suffer.
Okay, sir. And what are your thoughts about the commercial available PD blood test kits?
In case of cattle, the kits are available. I will not call it at commercial because their usage is limited in the field. The reason for that, the kits are available to identify this bovine PEG, pregnancy associated glycoprotein. Bovine pregnancy associated glycoprotein, PAG in short form. Under this method, we have to collect the blood sample, and this is the major factor. And also, we have to go for this estimation by the ELISA method. So we cannot detect the pregnancy in the single animal like that of human being, where we can detect this pregnancy by the urine sample by using a simple single kit. So this, as per my experience, we can use it mainly for the academic purpose, not for commercial or in the field purpose.
Okay, sir. And which stains are used for uterine biopsy cytology
Yeah,
procedure?
Gimsa stain or Leishman stain, any type of stain we can use, like the vaginal cytology.
Okay, sir. And we have another question. One second. Yeah, I think we are done with the questions, sir.
Okay.
So yeah, one question is it possible to follow uterine cytology in field condition?
Yes, by with the help of cytobreast technique, I explained two technique. Either we can go for the uterine biopsy punch or by the cytobreast. So cytobreast is the non-invasive technique, and now they are available in the market. We can take the sample from the uterus and just we have to make the slide and stain it, and we can examine under microscope. That's a very simple technique we can perform.
Okay, sir, we are done with the question. Thank you so much for covering up this very important topic, and the participants have really liked it a lot, and you have kept them engaged during entire presentation, and they are very happy with your presentation. You have covered all the aspects of the topic and very well explained the presentation. So thank you so much for giving your precious time to us, sir.
Thank you, madam. Thank
Thank
you.
you,
I
sir.
tried this, although I already told in the beginning, this the as if we see the title of this topic, that cover complete gynecology around 10 to 15 lectures. But as per the importance in the field, I try to collect some the information for the participants. And I
Okay.
thanks the organizers
Yes, sir.
to give me this opportunity.
Thank you,
Yes,
sir,
sir. So
so
is
much.
it
You covered, I
Okay.
think, most of the clinical cases and the treatment protocol in the field condition. So it is
Yes.
very useful, I think, to of the veterinarians and veterinary officer present in the field condition, because main purpose of livestock hearing is only production purposes. Mainly we use for that
Yes.
one, but a lot of farmers are in the field condition, even in the farm condition, neglected the nutrition part, because macronutrient or trace elements are more responsible for the all the activities or regulating directly or indirectly metabolic reaction in the body, and govern or control the reproduction, because reproduction is the last activity which is either in the animals or either in the case of human being also occur start functioning. So if all of us um, spread the knowledge about the nutrition in the field condition, definitely they will manage the reproductive problem in the field condition. So thank you, sir, very much. You explain in the nice way. Although we are facing in technical glitch in the between presentation, but it is a very nice presentation, sir.
Sir, I have one request on the behalf of the participants. Is it comfortable with you to share your email ID with the participants so they can get in touch with you and ask you if they have some queries in future?
Yes, I am just sharing my mail ID, no problem.
Yeah, you can just type that your email ID in chat box, or you can
Yeah,
just,
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
sir has, Yes, dear participant, sir has typed his email ID in the chat box. You can get it from there. And regarding the presentations, we will provide all the presentations to you. So stay assured. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much for this valuable session.
Okay, thank you, ma'am.
Thank you once again, sir.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
May I
Yeah,
leave
so
now, Dr. Dinesh?
Yeah, sir, no problem.
yes.
We are all now leaving the session.
Okay.
Okay, sir.
So, dear participants, as we have reached to the end of today's session, so on the behalf of the organizers, Vital Biotech Agriculture Forum for Technical Education of Farming Society, Kota, Faculty of Veterinary Science and Animal Husbandry, Ranchi, Birsa Agriculture University, Ranchi, Jharkhand, and the entire organizing team, I deliver my heartfelt gratitude to our amazing speakers, Dr. Tarun Pal Singh and Dr. Anuj Kumar, for their insightful talks. And I'm very sure, and I have seen in the chat box that you have gained so much of knowledge from them. So keep learning, participants. And lastly, I would like to thank you, all of you, for joining this training program and being so patient, being so attentive, and bearing with us during the technical glitches and making this session successful. So thank you all, and have a great evening. We'll join tomorrow at 6 p.m.
Thank you,
Thank
one
you.
and all.